fellow Star Trek fans. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Clonestar podcast. I am your host, Mike Overton, and joining me in the co-host seat this time is my wonderful friend, Jodi Pickens. Jodi, how are you?
Doing great, Mike. Thanks.
Awesome. Now, we had the really special opportunity to talk with the incredible James Hiroyuki Liao, who played San in Star Trek Section 31. Now, time was short, so let's get into it. James, did you grow up a
Yes,
Star Trek fan?
absolutely. I mean, I wasn't like four, right? But around the same time that I was getting into sports and everything else, maybe a little bit after that, but my introduction to Star Trek was The Next Generation, right?
Oh, nice. Yep.
I thought it was like the greatest show ever. I just loved it. I adored it. I loved every single second of it and everything. And I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, if you hear this in other places, but I really didn't understand, at the time why I loved it so much. I was just very drawn to it, and I really, really wish that I could, jump into the television screen and join that world. Like, as a child, your imagination is very fertile, and you're just like, man, like in some part of the universe, right, where there's a ripple, this might actually be real, know?
Yeah.
So I was like, I so wished, and in a lot of ways, I felt a kinship to a lot of different characters, right?
Yep.
Whether they were human or whether they were, Klingon, or whether they were Vulcan, or whether they were Ferengi, or whether
Who's
it
your
was
favorite?
Right. whether who I really liked on Next Generation, and sometimes it gets a little kind of like, because he wasn't always in it, he wasn't in it a lot, but Barkley was played by
Yep.
Dwight Schultz.
Yep. Yeah. Reg Barkley. Yep.
Yeah. I loved especially underdog characters, and I loved people who I thought were very misunderstood, and that whatever there was on the surface, there was so much more, underneath, that if they only had the chance to. And I think, when you're a kid, I didn't have those thoughts. I can't articulate that. But as I got older, I really, really, really understood why I love the show so much, and everything. So it started with Next Generation. That brought me into Star Trek. And I had seen, I knew about the original series and everything, of course, because it was around for such a while. But I wasn't like a fan, being honest. But then I went back and I saw the whole thing, and I was like, oh my God. It's like, of course, obviously, the special effects and all that stuff improved and everything like that. But what they set up so that there could be a Next Generation and everything that came after it, I was like, holy smokes. And the movies were awesome. I mean, I don't care. I know some people got all different opinions about whatever. I love The Wrath of Khan and The Search for Spock. Holy smokes, right? I thought they were so good. And I love the little Easter eggs that were in our movie that were kind of like, having a cameloid, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So having a Delton from way, way back, right? So it was, and introducing a Nanokin, right?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. But Next Generation, I absolutely adored, and then that got me into a lot and stuff. I love the Star Trek universe. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And first and foremost, I've been saying this too. Yes, it's sci-fi. Yes, it's very fun to look at. It's very beautiful to watch. Um, and there's all these cool action sequences and all these different alien races, and all the prosthetics and the makeup that goes into making them, and then the different technologies that exist within and all that stuff is really freaking cool. But at the end of the day, for me, Star Trek, what sets it apart from everything else is that it's always been fundamentally about something deeply, deeply, deeply core to what is being a human being mean. And in this context, even thinking outside of that narrow vision of human, right? In this universe, that's the way we got to think of what's the right thing to do, what's the right way to be, you know?
Yeah.
What are you willing to do to sacrifice in order for the greater good? When is that sacrifice too much? When is it not enough? And when are your ambitions, you know, is it clear sometimes what they really are?
Yep.
You
No,
know,
exactly.
the desire to hurt somebody that's hurt you is human.
Yes.
But the desire to heal and to desire to fix something that's broken is also equally human. And these are themes that are constantly going like this in Star Trek. I think that's why it's so successful with all the sci-fi stuff and everything in it. And it makes it a very palatable world to digest all this stuff. But in that greater context, you can totally tackle, you know, all forms of discrimination.
Yep.
Climate change.
Yes.
You know, taking, you know, misogyny, sexism, all the isms you can think of, you know.
There's lots of isms.
Yeah. and sometimes, you know, like one of my favorite episodes of Next Generation was the one where they meet up with those scientists who tell Geordi and Data and everybody, and like, you know, that warp core drive is actually destroying the fabric of the time-space continuum.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, it can't. What are you talking about? Warp core drive it is the most, you know,
efficient mode of transport.
Yeah, and most life-changing thing that's ever happened. It's you know, I'm an expert on this and you're insane. And then that guy knew it wasn't really suicide by, you know, depression or something, but he said, no, in order for the world to listen, for the universe to listen, I've got to do this. Like, yo, man. And that was done at a time that it was not, I mean, at all popular at all to talk about any of this kind of stuff.
It just goes back, doesn't it? The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yeah, you know, and so, like, come on, man, this show had, you know, and that is the through line of the Star Trek universe. I'm telling you, every episode is never just about, you know, some interesting alien race and this and that, and then, you know, even the Prime Directive itself, when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
You see this, you know, but Michael Burnham's desire, right? This is like, no, I can help. No, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
These people deserve my help and I should help them. And right now the Prime Directive is wrong. And other times Prime Directive is a great idea, right? And the grappling with that, right? Like, it's just a beautiful world. That through line from original series all the way to, you know, Strange New Worlds. That's in there, man. That's what makes us all Star Trek, right?
Yep.
So as different as our film was too, I felt like we had that look at Giorgio. Look at what she does, you know, look what she's willing to do, you know, by the time we get to the end of our picture, you know. It's a really, so, you know, I'm sorry I'm like going
No,
like
you're fine. Well, you're passionate about Trek, and so that makes that's impactful to the fans.
I mean, I don't want to get all like corny and stuff like that, but to say that it wasn't a big part of me being able to, it was a huge friend to me. Let's just put it that way. You know, that really helped me get through a lot when I was younger.
How meaningful then, being a fan and having that connection to Trek like so many fans do, how meaningful was it as you as a person and as an actor to get this role?
Yeah, so I've been repeating like this I've been a broken record about, so I apologize.
You're fine.
Probably more than anything else, it's been like a dream come true because, you know, like I said, I used to dream of man, like I wanted to be like Data's best friend, you know. I wanted to be best friends with Geordi and Data, right? I so wanted to be like hanging out with them and stuff. And like, even though they'd be way smarter than me, like, but Data would be so interested in learning about
Yes.
this primitive sport called baseball and whatever, right? And everything. And like,
You talked.
I
I'm
used
sorry,
to
go ahead.
dream about like, oh, if I could jump into the television screen,
Oh, yeah.
I play baseball with Data, and within 30 minutes, he become the best baseball player in the world, right? Because of his ability
Well, the
to
universe,
learn,
you mean?
adapt. So,
Right.
so in the universe, right? So, so literally, when I found out I got the job, I mean, I was beside myself. But that first day, I was filled with so much. I was so charged up. I had butterflies from the tips of my toes to the tips of my fingers just busting out of my head. I didn't think I would be able to act the first moments because I was like, literally, James, this thing that you dreamt about when you were a kid, you're doing it.
Yeah.
When does that happen? Fucking never. I told somebody else this. My only other dream I guess I ever had as a kid, when you talk, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up, and you're fantasizing about what you could be. I wanted to be a center fielder for the New York Mets, and I knew early on I wasn't good enough, nowhere near good enough for that to happen. So that was gone and everything, and then literally I got to live one. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, right? It doesn't.
Right.
It's like,
It
I'm
really
so
doesn't.
grateful. I'm so grateful beyond words. There are no words to describe my gratitude to Alex Kurtzman and to Tunde and to everybody that had a hand in this, and for letting me play this guy.
I think what's unique for you is that I think viewers sympathize with your character. And I think that's a testament to what you brought to that role.
Oh,
And
thanks, man.
it's true. And I think what's also special about it is, I mean, you talk about having that first day jitters and being able to live out that childhood dream. That makes you an honorary Trekkie in a heartbeat right there for no other reason. So
Yeah.
we appreciate that.
I love playing Son, and that's really, the thing that I focus. You do this, it's gonna sound like a nerdy actor now, but like I never, especially something I'm gonna play. But all characters within the thing, I see it as a story that's being told. I don't judge. And in his case, there's such a fertile story here.
Yeah.
Listen, we are what we know. We are what we've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And still within that, though, there is a human being. He loves Giorgio, and he hates her at the same time.
Yeah.
As he battles her, he still wishes that they could go back in time and make a different choice and run away. That's what I played. As much as I want to reshape the universe in what I believe is the right way to be, right? Right? Every tyrant's foolish thought, right? That they can make the world better, right? He also hates that very system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That he's trying to, tinker and make better this time around, right? So in the end, I think San is very, very, very okay with his death, because in reality, I think he sees that the Giorgio that he fell in love with is still there.
Yeah.
And she's going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
She's going to take the godsend to destroy it so that it can't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
And that is the right thing. So then ultimately that girl that he fell in love with is there. And then for him, all he knows is this damage. And maybe he's not the best messenger for harmony and peace.
Yeah.
So in that moment, I think he's okay with his death. It was I really loved filming with him, man. It was just on every level, to be able to act in Star Trek, to be able to act with your hero, Michelle Yeoh, who's meant so much to me for so long, maybe more than almost any other living actor. like, it's crazy. Like, I'm one of those people who got to say, you got to live literally a dream come true. Not everybody gets to say that. And it's something that can never be taken away. So I'm so, so grateful to the universe, to the world that Gene Roddenberry created, and everyone that made this possible. If I was saying this on premiere night, if I could still be there, I would. Sign me up. Sign me up. You want me to come back as I don't know, I'll come back as a Borg or whatever. I don't
Look, no one's ever dead in sci-fi.
Ever. Especially in Trek.
Yeah, I loved it to death. So yeah, I mean, sorry guys, I know I get very long-winded, so you gotta cut me off and stuff.
I think that's what we have time for. But James, look, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
We would love to have you back on again to have a real deep dive for hours at end. So
we would.
But yeah, thank you so much, honestly.
No, thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into this super special episode of the Clonestar podcast. Remember, you can catch up with more of us at our Patreon, patreon.com/Clonestar, where you can join for as little as $2 or euros or pounds a month. Remember, supporting us this way is the easiest and fastest way, and it also helps us keep all the lights on and helps us provide incredible content for you. But until next time, live long and prosper.